There's more to being a great facilitator than just having a bunch of tools and activities in your back pocket. Really great facilitators carry a mindset into the room that filters everything else that they do. So in this video, I'm not going to give you more activities or more techniques. Instead, I'm going to share with you the 6 principles of deliberate generosity, the things that will guide everything a great facilitator does. Hi, I'm Kerry Price. I'm the founder of the Facilitators Network, and I use deliberate generosity to make sure that no meeting or workshop is ever wasted. I've been facilitating for 20 odd years, and in that time I've led thousands of meetings, workshops and community conversations. Now I help other trainers and facilitators do it well too. As a facilitator, it's helpful to have tools in your back pocket, but tools without principles are useless. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 6 principles of deliberate generosity so that everything you do in the room can be filtered through those principles. So what is deliberate generosity? Well, at its heart, deliberate means to think deeply and to act with intention. And generosity means to give more than is necessary for the benefit of others. So if you put those 2 words together, it means that as a facilitator, you are thinking deeply and acting with intention to give the group more than is necessary to achieve whatever it is they need to achieve. What you give a group in any given moment will change depending on the group and the context and ultimately what they need. But these 6 principles will help guide you along the way. Principle 1 is that deliberate generosity is rooted in care, not obligation. So when you come into the room and you're working with a group of people who really want to achieve something, it's important that you genuinely care about the people in the room. If you're just ticking a box or going through the motions, you'll find that you get wedded to a plan and everything becomes quite mechanical. Deliberate generosity says, I really care about these people, and first and foremost, I'm going to let them know that. That means things like having tea and coffee available when they arrive. That means greeting people at the door, letting them know that you appreciate them taking time to be there. It's about learning people's names and treating them as human beings and not just a number or a seat warmer. If you don't genuinely care about the people in the room or the topic that you're there to facilitate, then anything that falls out of your mouth or anything that you do is never going to land as well as it could. I love what Maya Angelou says in this space. People will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And that's the first principle of deliberate generosity. It's rooted in care, not obligation. Principle 2 is that deliberate generosity requires careful thinking and clear intent. In other words, if you want to give participants exactly what they need, you need to work out what that need is. For me, that starts right at the design process of facilitation, talking about why this? Why are we even having a workshop or meeting to begin with? Why now? What's the timing of this workshop and where does it fit into a larger timeline? Why them? Why are the people in the room? And why me? Why am I the right person for this session? If you're not really clear on the why, the purpose of the session, it's really hard to choose what questions, activities, frameworks, structures to use in order to help participants achieve what they need to achieve. So deliberate generosity is about deep thinking and clear intent, and that starts before you get into the room. Principle number 3 is that deliberate generosity considers power and protects dignity and agency. As a facilitator, whether you like it or not, you have power in the room. Everything you do has an impact and influences others. But you need to make it clear that those in the room also have power. In fact, they should have the most power. It's them that you are there to serve. In order to do that, you need to set aside your ego, and instead of being the sage on the stage, the expert, the knower of all things, you really want to honor the wisdom that is already in the room. The people sitting in those seats, whether they're there to discuss process or do some learning, they have wisdom. Honor that, start with that, and only fill in the gaps if you need to. Principle 4, deliberate generosity is a way of being, not just a way of giving. When you hear the word generosity, it's easy to think it's just about what you're giving more of, more content, more questions, more activity. But actually, as a way of being, it's things much wider than that. An example of that as a facilitator is when there might be challenging behaviours in the room. The question I ask myself is, what's the most generous assumption I can make about this person and their behaviour? It's important to remember that people don't set out just to annoy you. There's usually, or dare I say it always, a reason behind the behaviour. So deliberate generosity as a way of being says, what's the most generous assumption I can make here? And it puts you in a much better place to facilitate well. Principle 5, deliberate generosity is not always nice, but it's always kind. Sometimes as a facilitator, you need to make tough calls. You need to call people out, you need to hold people accountable, you need to interrupt people who are going off track. Now that might not feel nice, but it's the kindest thing you can do for the benefit of the whole group. And this principle is one that many facilitators struggle with because we're balancing what does the individual need with what does the whole group need. And that's a tension that you learn the more time you spend on your feet. What's important to remember though is there's a difference between being nice and being kind. Sometimes you have to make the tough calls. Principle 6 is that deliberate generosity requires self-generosity. That means if you want to show up at the front of the room and to be the best facilitator that you possibly can be, you need to spend time investing in yourself. You need to make sure you get a good night's sleep before the day of the workshop. You need to make sure you're investing in training and development. If you're staying in a hotel, make sure it's a nice one. If you want to show up as the most generous version of yourself, you need to be generous with yourself. So now you know the principles that underlie great facilitation, you might want to have a few tools and techniques in your tool belt. In my next video, Effective Facilitation Techniques for Managing Loud Voices, I give you some great techniques for helping people share the air. Because remember, deliberate generosity is not always nice, but it is kind. And these ones require a bit of that. The link to the video is in the description below. Go check it out.